Thought it would be. So, I'm Remco, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna do a talk and drive. We have a subject, which is the new competition system that's coming up for rFactor 2. And we kind of want to share our opinions and maybe discuss a little bit about what we expect from the system and how we will want to see it being shaped. With me I've got Rasmus, a teammate of mine in, what was the team called again?
Undercover sim racing.
Undercover sim racing. It's so undercover I forgot the name. So there's a new competition system coming up. They announced it like quite a big while ago, and right now they are saying that at Sim Racing Expo, which is next week, they kind of went to announce, I think, the open beta for the competition system. So, Rasmus, what do you think about the competition system that's coming up?
Well, in my opinion, it can be a big game changer for rFactor 2 in general in the sim racing community. So, as many know, iRacing has for many years had the majority of the big players, mainly because of their matchmaking system. And I really believe that rFactor can gain a bunch of good drivers into the competitive scene.
Yeah.
Of getting a system like that.
Yeah, because iRacing has a system which every 2 hours there is a race scheduled, which is pretty much, from my perspective, organized public racing, because everyone can just join that. They do have a license system though, which is on safety rating and iRating. From what I know, rFactor isn't really going that route of safety rating, but more towards just how well you finish. So, because when you crash, you won't finish on the top anyway. So it indirectly is the same rating you have.
Yes, and I think I would like to see in the competition system is like in iRacing you have X amount of incident points, and if you reach that, you're disqualified. So basically you can be disqualified from a race by other people hitting you without your control. Yeah, so in rFactor I would like to see what it sounds like it will be. That will not be the case, but I hope instead if you do someone does something stupid, they will, for example, get a drive-through penalty or a 5-second penalty,
from what
something like that.
What I think, because there is one screenshot out, which I will probably edit into this video, where they show a screenshot of a qualification run they did in their new UI system, which is also being worked on. And there is a submit protest button in the UI. Unlike iRacing, which is really more towards the web-based system, rFactor wants to apply it to their new UI immediately. But I think iRacing is well known for the competition system because the hourly races, the 2-hour races, and but rFactor is better known for their league racing.
Yeah, they really are.
So I think for like big championship, GTs are very popular. For the rookie series, like the Tatus probably, they can really go to the 2-hour every time there's a race system, just like iRacing has. But I think that once you go further and you get to some harder to drive cars like the LMPs maybe, like the Senna, which is released now in the hypercar class, which is a little bit not like the actual Senna GTR, but their own mandated hypercar class. So it's a little bit faster, but it's going to replace the LMP1 class in the World Endurance Championship Series. I think
only in a year's time, actually.
Yeah, actually it's already pretty soon. But I think for those series, it's not a great idea to have a race every 2 hours. Those cars need so much work on the setup, on like learning how the car drives, and one mistake that can kill not only your but also other people's races. So I think that should be more managed towards the weekend probably, and you can have multiple races in the weekend. Um, you know, it's just like an actual league race, but then for multiple time zones, because those cars are usually being raced in endurance races anyway. You're not gonna
Yeah,
get like 30-minute races from them, and that wouldn't be fun either. Well, it could be, but
yeah, exactly. Those cars are not made for sprint racing. They are made for endurance, as you say. So 30 minutes or an hour race, it will not be suitable, I will say, for that car. Maybe it will be, like you say, maybe a series which goes in the weekend. Maybe a Saturday and Sunday, maybe multiple time zones with a multi-class kind of series,
yeah.
which can
Yeah, now you say that multi-class series, you've got
yeah,
GTE cars, you've got MSD
yeah.
cars, and you've got the hypercar class.
Mhm.
They could actually, instead of making the entire multi-class series one license, they could actually say, well, in the GTE, which is an easier car to drive, you can step in with a lower license class. Once you go to like the hyperclass, you need a way higher license level. They could actually use that.
They could.
But that's something that you have to implement from the beginning in the system, because getting that in later is hard, I think.
Yeah, but from my experience, it will not be a great idea to allow lower class licensed drivers into a series with maybe much better drivers are, just because they're driving another car class. Because it can really make some bad moments in the races. Let's say a rookie turns up in GTE, just not have done any practice, and let's say you or someone
Now, I'm
else.
not saying there should be a rookie license, but when you're eligible to drive a GTE championship, for example, you can go to the 24-hour of LeMans, which could be a big event with that license level, while not having the license level for like a hypercar.
Yeah, but I feel like for those races, it should be like the same kind of skill rated drivers. Like it should be sorted by skill rating and not by a particular license color or something. It should be sorted by
Yeah, exactly, as a
how
skill
your
rating.
skills is. Because what I experienced, like let's take again, because it's obvious to compare iRacing. I've experienced that maybe there have been some, let's say, GT drivers with 4,000 I rating, and then some LMP1 drivers with around 1,500 I rating, and it's just not the same racecraft and racing mind there is on those two people.
But
It's complete difference. It can really make some. It can really ruin the race for both.
I do understand that, but in real life, in a WEC, they also have a Pro-M class.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be like the Pro-M class, which, yeah. I think more in that way. Because you've got a GTE Pro, which probably needs a high license level. You're an amazing driver, and you can go for the win with the best guys in the world, for example.
Yeah.
But for like lower license drivers, for which we say, yeah, you can't really compete with that, they could go for the Pro-M class or GTAM, because it's not called Pro-M. But that's a GT3 thing.
Yeah, so certain classes will be unlocked in certain series based on your license. So maybe you can drive a particular series, but you cannot choose every single class of car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But coming back a little bit to the thing we talked about in the beginning,
Well,
what I notice about iRacing is definitely the higher championships. like the Road to Pro back in the day when it was still Formula 1, which it isn't
Yeah.
anymore. It was dead. And what actually happened was, well, actually, I'll take an example from the fixed Indy series, which was Road and Oval, I think. I was in the team back in the day. I didn't drive that series, but what I heard from them is that there was like one SOF race, one race that actually counted for points. So what happened?
Because it was the
Yeah.
only time there were enough drivers participating.
Exactly, there was a minimum of 8 from the top of my head, and then the race got counted towards the championship. But, so everyone was racing at the same time, which was like 12 drivers from the top of my head. But one team was existed out of like 8 drivers. So what actually happened? They wanted to win the championship, so they decided to drive on a different time, and they didn't tell anyone. Which meant they won because they were in the official race and the others weren't.
Yeah.
That is something I think should be taken note of. What I also think for like the lower series, for like the tattoos and stuff, yeah, the championship for the 2 hourly races, it's okay, it's fun, could be fun, you couldn't look at it, but I don't think it will really help anything, make it more special, because you will be driving race to race, you won't be looking at the championship most of the times, because you're not racing the actual guys who are in your championship.
No.
So, yeah, what I think could be done with those popular series is like make an official race of it. On top of the 2 hourly races, so everyone still has a championship and a race if they want to do it. If they
And they could use like they use like the current competition system. You do let's say a qualifying period of 3 or 4 days, and then
exactly.
top 20 or something on that list would get into that official race.
And they could still use multiple grids.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's very popular series, they could even distribute points over the multiple grids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then they could.
But it would be like a pre-qualification, like we had with the 24 Hours of LeMans this year.
Yeah, exactly. And Sebring as well.
Sebring as well, yeah. So I think there's a lot of possibility there to do it actually better than iRacing does.
Exactly.
Because you can right now look at iRacing system and think we can create the same and people come to us. I don't think that will work. People will stick to iRacing if you're making the same system.
Exactly.
Because everyone has their money, everyone has their licenses there. Well, I'm getting a message for some reason. But because you people have to spend the money, because it's quite an expensive simulator, they do not want to move over to an rFactor, which is, yeah, somewhere different, and they didn't invest in that, so
they really have to offer something different that really pulls people towards them.
Exactly, that's what I mean. That's
and that's where I think maybe the penalty system, as we talked earlier, really could make a difference.
Yeah, because going back,
like you won't be disqualified if you get hit off in turn 1.
Yeah.
And multiple times in the race, which is maybe not your mistake. You can still finish the race actually, and then submit the protest afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. But from my understanding, how the protest system works from iRacing side, it's mostly about people intentionally wrecking others and just people cheating. It's not really, he actually made an aggressive move and hit me, now he's gonna get a penalty. And the only penalty they can get is either a ban, or their license gets some penalty points on it or something. You might actually get demoted to a class lower, but a lot of people are class A. And when they're racing in a class C championship, they don't care if they're going to B. And for that race, they wrecked you and they still keep their position. So on the penalty side, what do you think rFactor can do better than iRacing in that aspect, and how do you see that evolving over time?
You mean in the race in general?
Well, I don't think they can always do live stewarding because there are too many
No.
races, but like once you protest an incident, what do you think should be protestable and what should they do with that?
Let's say if you maybe let's say you're driving down to let's say at LeMans,
Yeah,
for example, at Mulsanne corner, or no, better example. Let's take Sebring at the first hairpin.
yeah.
Maybe you're in front of another car, but the other car is around a second behind you, half to a full second, and then you don't really expect them to make a dive from there because it's way
Well,
too long.
it's a chicane. I mean a hairpin, and you know it's sim racing. What do you expect?
Yeah, I know, but still, you won't expect people to dive from that left because it's just too far in general. So maybe if they dive and completely shut you off the track, that could be something you could be protested, and it could maybe get a certain amount of seconds, maybe 30 seconds, 10 seconds.
Which is like a converted drive-through penalty, for
yeah,
example.
exactly, like a drive-through penalty post-race result. That's the kind of thing I would like to see, because I know from Iris you can protest things, but nothing really happens. So I would actually like that you can see that the protest actually is going to do something if you have a case actually.
Okay. So it should be more based on actual race results, which indirectly also affects your rating. So it would technically affect your safety rating. Well, it's not really safety rating because it's in one rating then.
No.
It wouldn't really affect. It would affect that, which is quite an interesting thought because
it is.
iRace for some reason has those two separated, even though they are very well connected. I mean, if a driver isn't, very fast, they could make like a standard championship for like a theoretical class C, but there should be speed differences that shouldn't be in the same class. If you're not a fast driver, you shouldn't be in a Formula 1 car, for example. It could be fun if you're driving with the same level of people, but it shouldn't be based around safety rating.
No, I think really the skill rating, if is that kind, is just a skill rating. It should really. It should not only be based on your results, but also on, let's say, your track behavior. Let's say you're easily making contact and maybe using other cars as a brake, which some people has as a phrase.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what you mean. Yeah, but it's really us. When we are talking about those things, could be great to have that you could It's really hard to program for Studio 397. It's really a hard thing to code in.
AI can't judge humans, is my thought always.
No, exactly. They can't. The system can't really judge if it's you that brake too early or the other car used you as the brake. And that's really
it has to be an insanely smart and taxing system to be able to work right. And you can't really do that in a just consumer grade computer, I think.
No, not yet, at least.
Yeah.
But I think the penalty system really could be something that really could pull a lot of drivers over to rFactor 2.
Yeah, by actually giving penalties in the race result.
Yeah. Let's say if you maybe there could be some live stewing of some sort. Let's say on cut tracks, if you cut the track and get the cut track warning, let's say you have 3 or 5 of them, and after let's say you have 4 warnings, and on the fifth time you do it, you will get let's say
it was a drive-through. It was a drive-through at the
maybe not a drive-through, but let's say you get 5 seconds added to your race time or something. And if you
If you pit, you have to stop 5 seconds, for example, exactly like you do in Formula 1.
exactly. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Not too harsh like a drive-through, then your race
Well,
is completely ruined.
I can tell you,
should
in
not.
the 24 Hours of LeMans, the official one from rFactor 2,
Yeah.
they actually used a drive-through after indeed the fifth cut was a drive-through, which I get a good track warning, funny enough. But for some reason, no one got it. Why? Because people didn't cut.
Okay.
If you're just gonna add 5 seconds and you cut 5 times and you gain a second by every cut, that 5 seconds is nothing. So I think it should be harsh, just so no one does it. Everyone knows what they're up to and what they can do and what they can't do. I don't think they should be too lenient.
They shouldn't be too lenient, but they also shouldn't be too harsh, because that can scare people away from the platform as well.
But what I think is that they also should make a very clear rule book then. In the mind of overlapping rules at turning, you need to have like your front wheels have to be past the rear wheels, which is usually used. That kind of stuff. So when you're protest, you can actually say this is the rule, this happened, and he was in the wrong, and we made contact, crashed, or got damage, and yeah, then he can be given a 5-second penalty, for example, after the race.
Yeah.
Because in the race, for incidents, it's hard. But
it is. But it's some kind of the contract system which is already in the simulator. They could evolve that with some kind of those penalties.
Yeah, but
in the competition races.
There's also a thing of which actually happened at the Sebring event at the World's Fastest Gamer in the hot lapping. They you could in the last turn go extremely wide on your out lap to get a faster entry to your hot lap.
Yeah.
Should those things be mandated as well, or should we say, let them go at it if it's possible? Why not?
In my opinion, you should just let them do it. To be honest.
I mean, if no one has a problem with it.
No, why? I don't really see the problem if people are well. Physically, the track allows that to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't see the problem, and
in real life it's allowed as well, I think. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't see the problem. They should be allowed to do it. Well, except if it was like it was the inside corner, they could cut a lot to get a better exit. Then I would think it would be a problem, because then they could do it on the actual lap as well. But if they extend the track, like at the end of the lap, they will actually lose time. So just for the get onto the lap, I don't see any problem with it.
Okay, but now we're going pretty deep to the penalty system. Coming back to the competition system, what kind of series are you expecting? Because rFactor right now has the GTE pack, the Hypercar, the LMP2, which is pretty much the World Endurance Championship series.
They have 2 GT3 packs, actually.
Yeah, they've got the status packs. Should they really go at the endurance part of the racing, or do you think they should get like single seaters and other stuff as well?
In my opinion, they should. It seems like rFactor really are focusing on the endurance part, so in my opinion, they should continue on that path. But at the same time, they really need to get some sprint race kind of thing, where let's say the Tatus, which is an amazing car for that purpose.
And because those have Formula 3 and Formula 4s in them, it's quite a diverse pack for.
Exactly, and if it's possible, they can make like in real life like a 2-race system. That you have qualifying, then you have race 1, and let's say the top 10 will be flipped around. Top 10 finishes will be flipped around for race start at race 2. And let's say if it's 20 people, then the 11 to 20th they will be flipped around as well, like a reverse quit of some kind, but not completely.
I really think they can really go pretty nuts with those kind of systems, and I think
Exactly.
it's a pretty smart thing to do because
It is.
iRacing, as far as I know, doesn't do that.
No.
And it is something that in a lot of championship, even BTCC for example, which would be amazing to have in rFactor because netcode allows that kind of racing.
They're doing it in DCM as well.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It really spices up the races.
So that's something they should definitely look at, I think.
Yeah, so Tatos, Formula kind of thing, maybe, maybe one of them. Then obviously a GT3 kind of series, a sprint GT3, maybe 1 hour race or something.
Yeah, like you've got like single driver races and like multi-driver races, like team.
Yeah, exactly, and then they have GT3 cars for special events as 24-hour Nürburgring, 20-hour Spa, and etc.
Exactly, Nürburgring is coming.
Yeah, which I'm sure is planned as well. And I also would like maybe a series of pure GTE cars, because
you mean like the Ferrari Challenge iRacing has right now, but then with just GTs.
Just GTs. We have all 4 GTs.
Yeah, but isn't like the GT3 class more suitable for that? Because you already have the Blancpain, which does that. Why would the GTE series be added to that?
I think you should separate them. Because GT3 it's an easier car to drive because it has ABS. Just on that, it's a lot easier. GTE is a lot harder to drive because you can actually lock up your brakes. It's a more challenge. It has more downforce, but in general, it's a faster car with a bit more challenge. So maybe GT3 could be like an entry series for stepping up into a GTE class.
So
series.
You think there should be a ladder system for GTs? Should be a ladder system for more open wheelers and prototypes?
Yeah. No, prototypes. It's just in GTs. And maybe But
but is the prototype close to a GT car or an open wheeler? I think it's more close to an open wheeler, so yeah.
It is, yeah.
But I think that's pretty much up to the driver itself, so you can of course go up through the open wheeler class and through. But for
I don't think they should, let's say, lock some, like say, if you don't go through this route like Tatos, GT3, GTE, you can never drive prototypes. It should not be like that
it should be crossoverable, like iRacing actually does right now. If you've got A class, you can drive all A class. Not
exactly.
Well, they do actually separate oval and dirt stuff.
Yeah, they do.
But for the last subject, iRacing right now went out from Formula 1 to the Porsche Super Cup and has an Endurance Pro Series, has Oval Pro Series, Dirt Pro Series. What do you think rFactor should make the first Pro Series, or so to say, of rFactor 2?
Well, actually, in my opinion, it really depends if what they have planned of future content. Let's say if they're planning like a super Formula car or something, that could be really exciting as a Pro Series.
Yeah.
But again, I will just keep saying GT cars. As while we are driving the Astin Martin, I instantly think of Nicky Tim. Like he says, the GTE racing is one of the best racing you can get on the earth at the moment, and I totally agree on that, because it's totally door-to-door scrapping, and I don't like the look of your car so close to my car. Thank you. But yeah, I really think they should make a Formula kind of thing and a GT kind of thing,
endurance kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe Formula for a sprint thing, GTE for Endurance Pro Series.
Yeah.
So you have both, because I really think they should continue down the path of.
But don't you think there could be like a virtual endurance championship pro series?
Yeah.
That would be better than just GTs, for example.
Yeah, exactly. It's really some kind of, because they already have a clear focus on the endurance racing. It's something they really should continue with, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually said that would be the last subject pro series, but now that we talk about this, what do you think, like league, people that organize leagues right now, for example, Virtual Endurance Championship, Formula Sim Racing, what kind of place do they have in the system?
It could be very nice if they could be built in some kind of league system, so it could be managed directly from the software. Like say, for many years, I can remember when, just to switch to a whole nother game, Project Cars 2, they introduced the online championships where after a race you can directly see the league standings, both for drivers and teams, and something like that could be implemented. It could really save some time for the league organizers for spreadsheets and doing standings and etc. Which I know from organizing leagues myself some time ago, really it can take a lot of time. So make it easier for league organizers, and then you can just bring the whole community together in another way, so we can grow this amazing simulator to what it really deserves.
Now, what I'm actually thinking about right now, which just popped in my head, what if those kind of championships would use official content, because otherwise would be licensing stuff going on. What if they actually get implemented into the actual system? Like there be a series which is the Virtual Endurance Championship. They actually run different divisions as well, but that you can like qualify for that, and it will be on the actual competition system page.
What do you mean exactly?
Like iRacing has all those letters, and when you're at like license C, you can see what license, what race you can have. What if they actually implement them into the system rather than just on a different league section?
Like you had to be a certain license to apply for certain leagues.
It would be integrated into the system. And in iRacing, once you do a league race, it doesn't count towards your iRating, does count towards safety rating. What if it actually is being implemented in the system itself?
It could be nice to get it implemented, but I don't think it should be forced. It should be made as an option for the organizers to use it or not. It should not be forced. So if some organizers don't care about that in their league, it should be allowed to.
Yeah, of course.
Turn that off. So it should be an option if it comes. It should not be a thing that's forced.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, we have to keep the competitive mind, but still find a balance with the casual player to keep the community growing, because everyone, even myself, starts as a casual player, just want to try it, and then it's like an addiction, some kind. You can't stop again.
Exactly.
And then you just go research more of it, and you can start in leagues, and you're getting competitive, really putting time in it. It's really about bringing a lot. What the platform really needs is players, and that's what the competition system will bring a lot of if they completely nail it.
Yeah, because once you start up the competitions, we can just jump in a competition without having to sign up for a league, to sign up for a third-party website, for example, which a lot of people is big step. You just can get into the game, into the actual rFactor 2 game, and jump into a race, which right now pick up play isn't really popular, which is because of the many league servers which are just in the same list, for example, as the public servers. The public servers aren't always full, usually aren't full. I think this system will lift up rFactor a lot. It will bring a lot of life to it if they do it right from the get-go, I think.
Exactly.
Otherwise people, I don't mean the beta. I mean the beta is like testing, and but for the
Exactly.
actual 1.0 release, or to say, okay, this is the finished product. Now we're gonna officially release it. Everyone
Yeah.
can do it. That's when it should be right. And
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much
So in my
perfect.
opinion,
Well,
when they release the beta, they should really take the time that's needed to fix the problems that
yeah,
needs to be addressed.
and actually listen
If,
to us because we know
okay,
best what's good for the system.
yeah, exactly. Well, the developers live of the customers, and the customers is us as a community, not us two, but a lot of
No, it is us
other
too,
people, of
definitely.
course. And we are not only two.
Oh,
Don't worry,
shit.
we actually just a small piece of the cake.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should just listen to the community, which they said they will do.
Exactly, and that's really a thing I also feel that they actually are doing. They are
Yeah.
listening to the community and are involved and caring about what the community really needs, and they're working hard to solve those issues. They
Exactly.
are presented.
So a quick summary, just try to do it better than iRacing.
Yeah, basically. That's
Don't
your story.
don't look away from what what rFactor is good at, which is the league systems and the one single race where you have to qualify for. That's where it's
Exactly.
famous for, and a lot of people like that. But also try to catch a little bit of that iRacing crowd who just wants to jump in and play.
Yeah, exactly. But do it in their own way, kind of thing. Let's say like they can have a Formula series, like iRacing can have Formula 3, but instead rFactor could use the last two race system, race 1 and race 2, and spice up the grids, because that will be something very attractive, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly like iRacing now has the rally cross system, which is very interesting. But
they have the heat system, but it's not. They don't have it in the road racing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much our opinion, which probably isn't to everyone's liking. Everyone likes something different.
Probably not.
If you think it should be different and we are wrong, tell us why, and we might make a follow-up video reacting to those comments. And if there aren't any comments, we probably just aren't popular enough. So I think this is it for this video. I hope to see you guys next time.